Morning, fish keepers! Cam here from the fishroom.co.nz. We've made it to Friday. We've done it. Let's do it. Let's get coffee. Woo!
All right, I'm good.
I've double shotted that one because, well, don't make my enthusiasm make it feel like I'm not tired, because I am very tired. But that's all right.
Well, it's well earned, isn't it? It's a well earned.
You say you're drinking Iron Brew.
Yes.
Iron Brew. Good times.
Iron Brew gets you through. Only for a hangover, I've been told.
Cool. All right. So I've got a little bit on my list of things to talk about today. Not a lot, because I've been away and I've only just got on about 11 o'clock last night. So I haven't really been in the building to pay too much attention. But I've got enough to talk about, so we can talk about some stuff to talk about.
Okay.
If that makes sense. Cool. So first and foremost, the Three Idiots Talk Aquariums podcast came out this week. We did it live again on both Facebook and on YouTube. And we spoke about aquariums, believe it or not. But the actual aquariums, like the glass box type aquarium.
So the actual fish tank itself.
Actual fish tank itself. So,
Interesting.
yeah, constructing of them, what they're constructive of, sealants, bracing, all of that kind of fun stuff that we kind of never think about, the actual box that we hold our fish in. So
Nice.
DIY Daddy got to talk about some stuff that he knew everything about, which is pretty much nothing. So that was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because these things live in water, I'm going to show you them now. We got some very, very nice Java fern coming this week. We have a grower of these down in the South Island, and they grow some very incredibly nice plants. They're a little bit smaller than what they were last time, but the quality of them is just as good. So these will be available on the website as soon as I get off, as soon as we get off this live stream, because I've only just opened the box. So, you know, I forgot all about them.
Is that what you spilled everywhere a moment before?
That's exactly what I spilled everywhere. So, who would have thought that a bag of aquatic plants would have water in it, and when the bag went horizontal, it would find its way out and the water would hit the ground?
I'm surprised that kind of logic never came up in your conversation about fish tanks.
It just blew my mind. I couldn't believe it. And so now I've got a decent-sized puddle on the ground of water. So, yeah, we'll deal with that afterwards as well. But, yeah, it's a very, very incredibly nice Java fern. So if you're in the market for some Java fern at the moment, this morning will be a really good time to get amongst that. Good morning, Rochelle. Good morning, Helen. Good morning, Renee. Hope everybody is well and everybody is happy on this fine and lovely Friday. What's Rochelle said? Glow like Daniel said nicely. Good to hear they've settled nicely. That segues really nicely into we got some more fish in this week during the week, and some of them were glow light Danios because they're awesome.
Mm-hmm.
We also got some coolie loaches in, some German rams, some Bolivian rams, and some gold purple head raspora, and some rocket pencils. So that, I think, is quite a nice combination. Ordered a few other things, but they're out of stock, unfortunately. But I'm pretty happy to have got the rocket pencils, and always happy to get purple gold head rasporas, because I think they are beautiful and they're very, very underrated little fish.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to have a look at it. I never managed to get out at the weekend, but I'm hoping to get out this weekend. Mm-hmm. I'm going to try to get some for myself.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, kind of went down the rabbit hole with them after their last live stream, and I'm hooked and I'm desperately want to get them now. So
very nice fish. When I was, I pushed the wrong button. When I was down in Christchurch, I was in Redwood Aquatics, which is an aquatic pet shop down there, or a fish shop, if you will. And they had redline raspora, which I'd never seen before.
Redline raspora, nice.
Redline raspora, they are so cool. They nearly ended up coming home with me. Like, I was so taken by them. Like, oh, yeah, these are awesome. But I didn't bring them home because I didn't know where to put them. So I'm going to do a little bit of research into them, work out where I could or where I might not be able to keep them, and possibly acquire a wee group of them because they're really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. You seen them
A lot
before?
to be said for the small fish.
What's that, sorry?
You know, there's a lot to be said when you start looking at the nano fish in detail and just stop seeing them just like as a schooling fish or a shoaling fish.
Yeah.
And when you start paying them the same kind of attention that you would with like a big cichlid that has all its patterns and colours on display, it really is a game changer. It's a whole different side of the hobby that a lot of people do overlook, and it's a shame.
Yeah. Yeah, no, they're beautiful. Like the line on it stood out incredible. I couldn't believe how iridescent the line on it was. It was, yeah, just under normal shop lights, nothing flashed, and obviously the younger fish. And yeah, I was just blown away how pretty they were. So yeah, might have to work something out there.
Definitely.
Yeah. So Rochelle was mentioning dwarf lily.
Yeah, I've asked them what their favourite aquatic plant is.
Ah.
I thought she was talking about tiger lilies. You know, the tiger lilies thing, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure. What's the difference between that and a dwarf lily?
Different plants. I'm almost certain there is two different dwarf aquarium lilies floating around New Zealand. They have different leaf structures on them. One of them, I'm going to draw you a really crude picture and try and put it up to the screen because that's how good there you go. One looks like a horseshoe. You know how when it kind of goes in and out like a half a love heart. The other one joins more into that. So I'm pretty sure that it is too. So
are you the one you're talking about green?
No,
red?
it's a red colour. So there's two different variants, I believe. One's the ruber, which is way more red, and there's another one more of a copper colour. So there's a couple of them hanging around.
It is very similar. It basically is what I was thinking it was, but it's just we call it something different. We just call it a red lotus tiger lily. That's what we call them.
Okay.
But it's the Nymphea lotus. Yeah.
Not to be confused with the red tiger lotus, because they're different as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm getting confused. Never mind.
Yeah, we've got red tiger lotus, green tiger lotus, which are different, and then we've got I'm adamant two different dwarf lilies. One's the ruber variety, and one's the not ruber variety.
I get you.
Yeah. Good evening, James. How are you doing? Hope everything is well. Yeah, if I could move my camera, I would show you the differences in them, but I can't do that because it's connected to my computer. So yeah.
No, that's right.
The glow light tetras are coming along very nicely. I will assess their sizes this morning and see how big they are. We might be able to begin releasing the first lot of our in-house bred fish, which will be quite cool. So we'll see how that goes. They might need another week, but I'm pretty sure I was quite comfortable with them late last week, so they should be okay. We'll fish some of them out and see what they're like. They've been in a black tub that I can't really see into other than the top, so I might put them in a tank first so I can assess them all before we put them for sale as well. I think that's probably the smartest thing to do. So and put them in a glass box, observe their behavior for a few days as long as they're at size, and then go from there. So at putting them into the tub, I think we had 90 odd that went in there. So not bad for a first attempt.
Exactly,
so hopefully we've still got somewhere around that mark when we take them up, but we'll see how we go. So yeah.
Anything else that's close to that stage?
I'm going to have a wee look around the tape. I think there will be some things that will be getting close. I'm just not 100% sure. Most of them, I think, will be live bearers. There might be some corridors, like the bronzes, that are ready, potentially. I know the gold lasers are still too small. They're showing their laser stripe now, which is really cool, but I think they're still too small. All the rainbows are still too small. They're taking shape, but they're not of selling size yet. They're still fry, basically, so they're taking forever. I think some of the sword tails are probably okay to go. There might be some platies in there that might be all right as well. The bristle nose will still be too small. Yeah, I think the guppies are probably too small as well. So some will be ready, but yeah, not a lot. So, but it's all about learning, growing times, and that kind of stuff as well. So yeah.
Yeah. I think the fact that you've bred them and you're able to bred them in volume is a huge achievement, especially for sustainability. These fish have been bred in Nelson water.
Yeah.
So for local people buying them, they've got the best possible chance of having a successful run at it as well.
Yeah. So yeah, all going to plan. It just becomes a little more sustainable. A couple of less steps in the supply chain, all that kind of stuff. So yeah. Helen will be happy to know that I've got a group of diamond tetras coming in hopefully today. So there's a local guy that has spawned them and he doesn't know what to do with them. So he thinks he's got between 50 and 100 fry plus his breeding group of 6 that I'm taking on. So I've got a dual Rio 240 sitting out the back that I've been going to set up. And I've been thinking for a while I might set it up as a diamond tetra tank. So
nice and muddy and dark.
Yeah, that's where that's heading. I'll do a bit more work on what they like and what they want, and I might put a group of 30 or so in there, and then keep the spawning adults out the back to produce more for the shop.
With the diamond tetras, I found that they like really, really low flow, and warm water as well. So warm, shallow, slow flow. That's what I got success with anyway. So
yeah. I've got a whole stack of various Anubias varieties that are sitting in that clown lodge tank that I really need to do something with. So it might end up being a Anubias plant themed tank full of diamond tetras, but we'll see how we go. So yeah, bit of research, bit of time, and then we'll work it out from there.
Yeah. I'm just seeing them. Renee's got she's saying that an aquarium store has wild caught diamond tetras.
Cool.
Yeah. That's a lucky aquarium store anyway. They're almost extinct in the wild, aren't they?
Yeah. They certainly are. There's been a lot of work on regenerating those populations there.
Yeah, there has, yeah. There was a new population found at a different location, because up until a certain point, they thought they had only come from this one body of water, which was shrinking. But they had found in a separate location in the bottom of a farmer's field, in effect. There's a little stream, they just found a healthy population of them, so we were going to build from that, yeah.
Awesome. No predators, and away they went.
Exactly, yeah. Just give me 2 seconds, I'm just need to shut this door again.
Yeah, good job. While John is shutting the door, I can say that this afternoon we're going to start our mega sale. For those of you that are on our VIP email list, you would have seen emails coming through over the last week with some of the products that are on our mega sale. For those of you that weren't, you'll find out all about it this afternoon. So I can probably tell you now because I've just told you anyway. So we've got 50% off all of the Zis range, 50% off all of the Pleco ceramics range. We have got 50% off the electric blue Acaras, which are local bred. Worked out a good deal with the breeder, so I was able to drop the prices on a special deal for everybody. The parents of them are phenomenal. Sometimes with the electric blue Acaras, they sort of turn up a bit white or a bit ghosty kind of color, if that makes sense. These ones, both of the parents are just that stunning electric blue shimmer that you would expect. So the fry will come through at a really gorgeous color. So we've got about 50 of them to rock and roll with, as well as 40% off of a Sarah Insect in all sizes of containers. So Sarah Insect is a product that I think should be in every single person's aquarium cabinet. Is that what we're going to call it? We'll call it that. Should be in every single one of everyone's aquarium cabinet.
Arsenal,
that'll do. Yep. So spoke to the supplier. I said, look, I want as many people as I can getting their hands on this product and trying it because I think it's brilliant. What can we do? He cut me a decent deal, which means I can cut everyone a decent deal. So the idea is to hopefully the people that have not tried it to give it a go, get it into their arsenal and understand and realize how awesome it is. And hopefully the fish enjoy it. So that was the idea behind that insect. So all of that will be kicking off this afternoon, but you guys are lucky enough to find it a little bit earlier.
Sneaky peeky. Mm-hmm. Do you want to post just listing everything later on today then?
What was that, sorry?
Should we put out a post on Facebook just listing all the products that's for sale, or?
Yeah, I'll do something like that this afternoon. Going away for 2 days is really kind of put everything up the wazoo, but I'll work it out.
Yeah, let's work it.
So yeah, that's happening. So get in amongst that, everybody. It's a good time. Speaking of blues, jumbo blue rams, how do they actually go? I don't know. I haven't seen them. I don't know who's supplying the jumbo blue rams. I don't know where they're from. I haven't seen them, so I'm not. Oops, wrong button. So I can't help you with that. I'm sorry, Rochelle.
Jumbo blue rams.
I would assume that they're just older fish that are bigger and growing up longer than the ones that you'd normally get, which are smaller. But I'm not 100% sure. What else we got here? Helen would be keen to try the Sarah Insect currently feed bug bites for insect feed. Is a Sarah better comparable? So I think the Sarah product is better than the bug bites product. A couple of reasons behind that. 40% of it is built up with insect larvae. 99% sure it is black soldier fly larvae off the top of my head. So that is the first reason I like it. The second reason I like it is when you break up the nutritional breakdown, it is over 70 or 75% on that equation at the back. So anything in the high 60s into the 70s is considered a ridiculously high quality food. It means there's very little carbohydrates, very little fillers, very little junk actually in the trunk to be feeding on. So ticks both those boxes incredibly well. I also like the fact that it slowly sinks. So if you put it in just straight up, it'll slowly sink down. So top feeders, middle and bottom all go for it. Another massive tick. It's soft enough to be able to crush it in your fingers, and if you do that, it sinks a lot faster, which means you can feed smaller fish with it as well. So I think it's got a lot going for it. And the most important thing is that pretty much every fish that I've fed for it goes absolutely crazy on it. I've definitely seen a higher growth rate and better coloration come through with this particular product. So I find it personally think it's better than bug bites. I have no issue with bug bites whatsoever. But I think the Sarah Insect is a standalone product, and it's pretty much best on market for pre-prepared dry food of any description. So yeah.
So you like it? So you like it then?
I very much like it, yeah. So
have you tasted it?
I have not tasted it. Maybe tomorrow. Yeah. So it's the food that we feed. It's the staple food we feed in the shop. So yeah, it gets between the brine shrimp and that's what we predominantly feed. So yeah. Brian says, Sarah Insect nature is loved by nearly every fish I have. Only algae eaters and my chunky seem to sit. All right, someone tell me how to pronounce that word. I know the fish he's talking about. CT. Is that like PS and it changes the sound of it?
Stenopoma.
Stenopoma. So the CT becomes an S.
Maybe.
Stenopoma? I know the fish we're talking about, but yeah, don't go
Where's
for it.
Rebecca when we need her?
What's that, sorry?
Where's Rebecca when we need her? she
Yeah.
Tenno.
Stenopoma. Okay, cool. So you drop the C.
Oh, this.
Don't pronounce the T. Oh, so now what are we doing? We're dropping the T or we're dropping the C? What's going on here? Ooh, we've got controversy. We've got controversy. Yep, the wild beetle we've got sitting out the back, eat the Sarah insect, no issues whatsoever. Good morning, Zen. How are you? And let's drop the C. Okay, so we drop the Z. Not too cool. And Rochelle would like to know, why would anybody intentionally eat fish food? Well, I once gave someone some free fish food to try some rapashi. So he was like, I don't want to spend $30. I'll take a teaspoon of this. And he hated every second of it, but he didn't have to spend $30 and got some rapashi. So, whatever works, works. Don't try that at home. So, yeah. Okay, so we drop the C.
There we go.
Right. There we go. Look at that. We're learning. We're all about learning here on this Fanatics Coffee Day. Right, we've got a fry update from what we've spawned last week. They're all free swimming now, which is very, very exciting. Zebra Danio, Pearl Danio, Gold White Cloud Minnows, and there's something else that I have forgotten off the top of my head. Excuse me. So they're all free swimming. They're going really, really well. I'm going to assess them. Hopefully this morning we can start getting them onto baby brine shrimp. If not, it might be another day or two on microworms and vinegar eels. But I'm very happy that they've all stopped glass surfing and they're moving into the middle of the tanks. So this afternoon I'm planning on painting another breeding tank. So that'll give us 3 empty breeding tanks. We're going to try for another 3 species on... I might put them in there tomorrow, possibly. I might put them in on Monday. But we'll be trying for another 3 species very, very shortly as well. So that is a fun time. Anybody is curious to see spawn or interested to see spawn, please let me know. If we've got it on hand, we will give it a go. Currently, my record with tetras is pretty average, but I'm going to keep trying and seeing how we go with that. But yeah, there's plenty of Danios and Rasboras and stuff like that. So yeah, we'll see how we go. And that is all that I've got on my list of things to talk about. Because like I said, I was away and I have not been in the building for a couple of days, so I don't really know what's going on. Oh, how are the Aussies? The Aussies are glowing as glass serving legitimate illness. The Aussies are growing really, really well. I need to take them out from the appearance and put them into another tank, into their own tank. I'll probably put that on my list of things to do possibly this weekend. Yeah, very, very happy with how they've come along, and seeing the magnitude of the amount that are in there now is quite astonishing. So there's quite a few of them in there. So we'll get moving with that. But I'm happy with how they've chugged along so far. So yeah. And is glass surfing a legitimate illness? That's referring to when they're in fry state and they're clinging to the glass of the aquarium. I don't know why they do it. Maybe they're picking off little microorganisms off the glass. Maybe they are in the wild. They hook themselves to something that they can to make it look like they're not in the water, to be not be predated on. But plenty of fry when they're young will attach themselves, will get very, very close to the glass sides of the aquarium. So it's called glass surfing. At least I call it glass surfing.
I once got told that it was a sign that the fish is bored and unstimulated.
Well, when they're one day old fry?
No, when they're older.
Oh, right.
I hear, but just meaning in general when they swim along with their nose touching it and...
Yeah. Possible. I could see that potentially working.
Fish
And
go
there's other fish, I think, do it because they're in the flow of the water when the filter comes out as well. Like, filter might be going that way, but it's going to be moving water down as well. We're playing around in that as well. Like the clown lodges, every morning there's that little 2/3 of the piece of the glass that you can see through the other bits of the sump inlet. And every morning they're swimming up and down, greeting me like without fail. So I think that's just them being personable.
Yes.
And telling me to feed them, which I normally do, and then they stop doing it. So we got a routine. I know my place in their life.
Yeah, you're the feeder.
Yeah,
the guy with the food.
Looking forward to the concert. Apparently meant to be windy. To be honest, food fires will blow it away. Yeah, I don't think you'll be disappointed. Yeah, it was a good time, and I'm sure they will be phenomenally good as well. So enjoy. Just scored a 150 litre. Plan to move my brevis into it. Would Aussies work with brevis? I probably would work against that being a good option. Being they both want to have basically the same shells to live in. I would suggest that's probably not going to work very well, and the Aussies would get too fiery, and the brevis would pay the price for that. I would probably go against that very much so. So yeah, I think I have baby Corys in the fry tank, but I have that much Java moss in here. It'll be hard to see anything till they're much older. Yeah, so I thought I only had one Julie Cory fry in that tank, and I was really excited about it. But before I left, I think I saw 3 or 4 scatter away in one go. So there's a few in there. So if you've got one, you're potentially, and you've got plenty of Java moss or ferns or whatever, you're bound to have probably more in there. So that's cool. Well done. Over the past few years, I hear more and more about glass surfing. Yeah, I guess it's just possibly a common turn of phrase that people are using now. I use in reference to fry attaching themselves to the glass when they're small. But I know what you mean when it comes to other fish going up and down the edges of the glass and stuff like that as well. I found that African cichlids, when you first get them, are pretty prone to doing it. And I've always thought it was them just sort of working out where in the tank they can go and how much further they can go. Particularly when they're really young, they tend to do it. Once they've settled in a little bit more, they don't do it quite as often. So yeah. So yeah. Cool. So what have you been up to, John? Fish stuff? How's football going?
Actually, fish stuff has been quite boring recently. I've not been doing anything new from last week. Like I said, I was hoping to get out to the local fish shop at the weekend there, but just never managed it. So I've not got anything new in the tank yet, but it's still nice and clean and got lots of swimming space compared to before I cleaned out all that guppy grass. So yeah, I'm kind of stuck for space at the moment as well, so I've not even got any plans for new fish tanks yet. So I'm in a bit of a slump with my fish tanks. And it's kind of, I know.
Never ideal.
Leave this patch and look forward to getting a couple more tanks in the near future, hopefully.
I can see that couch that you're on's probably got about 3 extra seats that you don't need. So maybe you could just change from a 4-seater to a 1-seater couch.
Well, this is actually, it's a corner.
Oh, there you go. Get a corner tank in there.
Away with that whole bit there, I could probably get a 6 or 7 foot tank and underneath that shelf. So
I'm a problem solver. Okay, I've just solved your problems.
Yes, absolutely. And there's a wall in front of me that separates the office space to the living room, and I could get a fish tank on both sides of that.
Easy.
I just need to. Well, I don't know how I'd do that without getting divorced.
Just don't get married to start. Oh, wait, too late.
Yeah. I know it's easier to say sorry than it is to get permission, but
only so many times you can say sorry before please come back.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Change of species from Helen. I have discovered royal whiptails are really good at cleaning algae off everything. Royal whiptails are really cool fish.
They are.
Yeah. I like the fact that they get really big, but you don't think that they're really big because like they just
They're
blend in with wood. Yeah. Like you could have 3 or 4 in a tank easily on wood everywhere and you wouldn't see them, but then you'd look again and they wouldn't have moved. They'd be sitting on the wood.
Yeah, and like a lot of plecos, they kind of change colour slightly. You know, they can do that patchy thing. So one minute they're almost invisible, and then you just take a step to the side, and all of a sudden they're so visible, and you're like, "Whoa, where did they come from?" Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, they're a cool fish. So I've recently acquired some red whiptails, so I also quite like them. So
Yeah,
I
they don't
was,
get as big, do they?
no, they're just little fish. I was
Yeah.
going to filter them through the shop, but I decided not to. So there's that problem of being a fish keeper when you own a fish shop. It's like, I like this fish, I'm going to keep it. So that's exactly what's happened. So
Yeah.
yeah.
But now you've got the excuse because now you can try and breed them. So although you're keeping them and you're indulging in your hobby, it's still for the business.
That's exactly the theory that I'm working.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you see one fish with a white spot, fungal or an infection of some sort, is it wise to treat the tank so it doesn't take hold? As a general rule, yeah, treat the tank. Some things aren't transferable, so you probably don't need to, but white spot clearly very much is transferable. There we go, got the words out. So I'd definitely be treating the tank for that. A lot of fungal infections can also be transferred from one fish to another, so it's normally worthwhile treating the tank. Better to be safe than sorry.
Yeah.
So I'm battling some sort of a bacterial infection. I have been battling it now for what feels like I bought the fish prior to Christmas. So I bought a whole bunch of pearl gouramis prior to Christmas. They looked a bit weird. Going through quarantine, a little bit lethargic, not quite right. Did a few water changes on them, and they seemed to come right. I was like, okay, sweet, maybe they just weren't, there's too many fish into the tank, weren't really enjoying it in there. Put them into the shop tank under some light, and about 2 or 3 days later, I was like, well, they're acting really weird again. And I spent a lot of time looking at them, and I found what looked like a bacterial infection, which I didn't believe it was. So I took them all out and started treating them. Nothing spread through the shop, which was lovely. But then I have been treating this bacterial infection out the back. So what looked like just one, all the fish were quite lethargic. Well, it looked like only one fish showing signs physically of this bacterial infection has then spread to multiple fish. So I think treating the whole tank is the better option there. And unfortunately, I'm not winning this battle at the moment. So we'll see how we go.
I mean, it's one of those kind of infections that treating the whole tank doesn't harm the other fish.
Yeah.
You know, like some diseases, the type of treatment could be harmful to other fish, but white spot or itch is generally, it's one of those ones where you can use what's the one that you use? We were speaking about this last week. There's a general treatment.
Yeah, tonic.
Tonic, yeah. And that kind of treats a lot of different things, so not just itch. So if you're not,
covers a lot of bases.
It's a bit more forgiving as well, yeah.
I've like anytime someone comes in the shop and asks, should we treat the tank or whatever, I basically say to them, or ask if they've got plants, and I say, well, what's more important to you, your fish living or your plants living? Because the treatment's going to potentially ruin your plants. And if they say fish, I say, well, let's go down the treatment route, or should I take the fish out or leave the fish in? Again, do you want, or should I use treatment or should I not use treatment? Do you want your fish to die or do you want your fish to live? What's more important to you? So, generally speaking, people will say, my fish living is what's the most important thing to me. And we go, sweet, give this a go and see how we go. So, but it always comes down to people's priorities. Some people don't want to see their plants go down, so they'll have to deal with their fish in other ways.
What would you say is the most common thing people come in and ask for help with? Disease-wise.
Disease-wise, probably unknown bacterias would be the way, or maybe uncommon funguses.
Right.
Probably the bacteria side of it. Yeah. That seems fairly often that happens.
Pictures and bring that in, or how do
Uh,
you?
I appreciate when people do, but often we're working on it's this fish and it's kind of doing this, and I have to try and problem solve from asking questions as opposed to a photo. Sometimes we get photos or videos, which is really helpful, but often it's I've got some fish that are acting weird sort of scenario. So run through a bunch of questions, and depending on where the answers go, will depend on where the next sort of questions lead, and try and work from there. So yeah. I acquired a couple of fish disease books late last year, early this year, recently, which have been quite helpful as well. So, I sort of work a little bit with that, ask a few questions, try and obviously I'm not a doctor or a vet or anything like that, but ask a few questions and try and work towards what I think it could be, and then sort of try and build the thoughts off reference books and try and going from there. So yeah.
Cool.
I'm also working on a wee theory of a lot of live bearers get thin, they get that shimmy, which I'm sure you're aware of, which I believe a lot of people consider to be internal parasites. So after reading this book, I got some fish that came in, and I was adamant they came in with flukes. So I just researched flukes, well aware like Flubendazool was going to do it, but I just want to do a little more reading. Got onto body flukes, which then went down the rabbit hole of live bearers are quite prone to body flukes, and once they get attacked by it, they get really thin, they start shimmering, they get that razor look. So, that's interesting. So I was wondering if that put me down the rabbit hole that maybe this thin and shimmering from live bearers isn't actually internal parasites. It might be external body flukes going on with them. So that's a wee thing that I'm playing around with at the moment, without obviously doing scrapings and under microscopes and stuff like that. It's probably quite hard to prove. But I do have a microscope here, so maybe I could start doing things like that.
You're going to go full nerd by the end of this year, and you're going to have a laboratory out the back and a white coat.
But yeah, it was just an interesting theory. So like, maybe people are throwing like levamisole and stuff like that to try and treat worms, and then can't work out why it's not working. It might be because it's not actually internal worms; it's external that you can't see or something like that. So, just a few things to think about and play around with, and mindset shifts. So yeah.
I mean, that's the thing when you're trying to treat fish for disease or infection. You've got to be careful because we're not veterinaries, so a lot of the time we are saying we're about 80% sure it's this, but we can't be 100%. So I suppose we're really hesitant when treating with any kind of medication, just in case we're not that way.
100%. So I'm not a qualified vet by any stretch of the imagination. Just a dude that likes to play with fish. So that's all come from personal thoughts, and a lot of issues present the exact same way. And so treat with this for one thing, and it's not actually this, and it's something totally different. So I tried with this medication, it worked. I tried with this one, it didn't, but it's because you've been trying to treat a totally different issue. They present very similar. So it's a really interesting part of the industry and part of the hobby. So Michelle said I need to get some tonic salt, but instead I've been using I need to get some tonic, but instead of using tonic salt and water changes, which apparently I need to be careful with peppercorns. So that's something else I'm wanting to play around with. The salt tolerance level of loaches and corridors, I think, is a lot higher than people give them credit for.
Are you talking about the salinity levels?
Yes. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I think salinity levels can be a lot higher than what people think when it comes to most fish, but with cories and with loaches. Like I'm aware that I can dose pretty heavily on some cories when they come in with weird little bacteria and stuff on them, which is quite common. and don't have any major issues with them. I almost think it's a bit of an urban myth that you can't use salt, or be careful with salt, and be careful with medications with scaleless fish. Like, there's a lot of people that say, half dose tonic with clown loaches and stuff like that. To me, the other option is you half dose, or your fish have the disease. Which one do you kind of want, if that makes sense?
Don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like going to the doctor and getting a course of antibiotics, only taking half of them, and then wondering why you're sick a week again later. So, but yeah, these are all things that I want to, obviously, don't want to get sick fishing, but it does happen. So deal with that one way or another and go from there.
So when you talk about salt, obviously you've got marine salt for mixing up salt water, and you've got like aquarium salts, as they get sold as, like the tropical ones we were talking about a couple of weeks ago. Mm-hmm. Is it that type of thing that you're discussing, you're meaning, when you want to play around with salt levels?
Yeah. So I use marine salt because that's what I've got lots of, because that's what I use to hatch brine shrimp. Excuse me. So I use marine salt, which is like fine table salt. So taking into account that a tablespoon of that is totally different to a tablespoon of rock salt, because it's a finer thing. But I use marine salt, and then we have a product called tonic salt, which is basically just normal rock salt rebranded, if that makes sense. So it's, from my understanding at least, there's nothing added to it. It's just a pure rock salt, no anti-caking agents or anything like that. It's just rock salt, but sold as tonic salt.
Well, I was looking at, when you're talking about loaches and some blackwater species, you can get tonic salt that's actually for blackwater aquariums as well.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, Tropicals do it. It was one of the ones that I was looking at. So there's obviously a lot of, what you were saying is there's certain like loaches who tend to live in darker water.
Yeah.
If there's tonic salts for that specifically, that type of aquarium, then there's obviously, it's worth exploring for sure.
Yeah. I wonder how that chemically breaks down to any different to any other salt.
It's got keta pine stuff in it.
Right. Okay. So it's been infused or mixed with something else.
Yeah. Catapolines, basically.
Yeah. 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 There are definitely some fish that are susceptible to salt levels, Brian. You're right. There it is. There you go. Yeah. There is definitely some catfish that don't like salt. Hara is definitely one that I was aware of, and there's another one, a little small one, that just they don't do salt whatsoever. But I think for the best part, there's a lot of fish that can handle more than what we kind of believe, and more general fish, if that makes sense. Haras aren't all that common, but more of your common fish that you see around all the time. Yeah. I use Brooklyn's tonic salt. By the way, in case someone asks me what's the difference in table salt and tonic salt, and why with some disease you rate temperature. Table salt, tonic salt. Table salt generally has an anti-caking agency in it, so that's why they are different. Tonic salt to rock salt, to my understanding, are the same product. I might be wrong, but I believe that tonic salt and rock salt are the same. And why with some diseases you raise the temperature, or is it lower? If we're talking about ick, you raise the temperature to speed up the life cycle of the parasite. Makes it run through faster. In some cases, if you raise the temperature, it will kill the fish faster. So, because the parasite or the infection wants the heat to grow faster, multiply faster, and then attack faster. So, totally depends on the thing that you're battling to, whether or not you want to be warmer or colder. I think there's a lower temperature number that a lot of parasites don't lot of parasites don't seem to work well at like it's 22 or 23 degrees. It's like the opposite of what people think. From memory, Sandy was talking about it when we had her on, and I think Maxie and myself have discussed it as well. At a lower temperature, less susceptible to some sort of diseases as well. So there's a few things to sort of play around with and have we think about when it comes to that as well. So again, it just depends on what you're trying to fight, to what course of action you go with. There's no blanket rule for everything, really.
Mm-hmm. And I guess it's about observation, and then researching based on that to try and get an educated guess.
Yeah. I would absolutely encourage anyone to get Dr. Basselier. I hope that's how you pronounce his name. Dr. Basselier's guidebook to fish diseases. I think it was about $30 or $40 or something like that. It's money well spent. There is so much information in that book. It is incredible. It's well and truly worth having in your arsenal just in cases.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully you never have to use it, but if you do, it's brilliant. So I'm excuse me again. I'm very happy that I bought it, and it's already been very valuable to me on a couple of occasions. So definitely encourage anyone to give that a wee look. So yeah. And if you can't tell, I think I might have picked up some sort of a cold or a cough or something recently.
You definitely sound a bit croaky.
Not quite right. Then when I first got back into the hobby, I was told not ever to use salt with corridors, and then after a long time I realised a bunch of breeders did use it. Yeah. Salt and corries work pretty fine, generally speaking. I've been told to salt dose all the corries that come into the shop. Like as soon as they get into the quarantine tanks, to salt dose them. I don't. I salt dose them where required. And I've been told that by a couple of people. I'm well aware that at least one of the importers that we have in New Zealand very, very heavily salt dose. I haven't taken any salinity records when I open the bags, but they are, they're dealing with all sorts of fish, and they ridiculously heavily salt their tanks. The salinity levels are very high, so I believe that a lot of fish's tolerance to salt is a lot higher than what we give them credit for. Morning, Rebecca. There are some other good books about fish disease, but out of print now. So eBay. I have one on discus disease that is brilliant. Yeah, I know books are really old school, but I feel that the effort that it takes to go research a book, write a book, get a book printed, market a book, to sell a book is more valuable information than writing a website, if that makes sense. Like, anyone can write a website, including myself. Doesn't necessarily mean all the information on said website is the best, and often it's this company has paid me to put these products into this information that seems a little bit less common when it comes to fish books. The disease books or fish books in particular, any books in particular, seem a little bit more pure at heart, if that makes sense. Not always, but a little bit more pure at heart compared to some other things. So, I just feel the information is often a lot stronger and a lot better when it comes from books as opposed to the internet, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think as well, when you sit down and read a book, you're more focused on, you specifically chose to sit down and read a book, so your brain's more in tune with what you're reading as well, as opposed to just picking the phone up and Googling something. It's
Yeah.
a half-assed attempt at finding something out. Whereas when you're going for a book, and the same goes for the person who wrote it, they've put so much more time and effort into it as well, more research, and edited once it's printed.
And like often stuff that comes to the top of Google is because the website itself is very powerful and Google bots crawl it, and so the SEO game is really good. So that's why their stuff goes to the top, as opposed to the actual really strong information being involved in it. So yeah,
exactly. And books are less confusing as well.
Yeah, the only downside to a book is you've got to have a fair idea of what it is you might have to start with. In Google, you can Google, a couple of keywords and hopefully get yourself on the right track. But with a book, sometimes you've got to work out what those words are that you're looking for when you're going to the back of the book to try and work through to try and get where you've got to go. So it can be a bit harder, but whether or not the information is better doing it that way, it might be more refined for what you want. So yeah. For fish disease, not sure there is any comparison. It seems the internet has forgotten about many disease and scientific papers that are difficult to navigate for that. Yeah, I have to I have to agree significantly on that. So it's almost like there's a wee window available for someone like you, Rebecca, to build yourself a really nice, easy to read scientific website when it comes to fish diseases. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. So yeah. Also for books, microscope photos, finding them online can be difficult. That's how I diagnosed tapeworm cyst in wild-caught fishes, which people would say is white spot or now wrongly Epicylus. Ooh, that's interesting. Can you please expand on that? Tapeworm cyst in wild fishes. So I'm assuming that means that they present similar to epi or white spot, and they aren't. Ooh, that's really interesting. And it looks like there appears to be some interest in Rebecca producing a website or a book regarding fish disease because us fish nerds would buy it. So you're in. Tapeworm cysts. I'm going to write myself a wee note. Cool. I think wild caught fish, tank raised fish are all. It's another whole conversation again as well. What you might be playing with too. So, yeah. Excuse me, I've definitely got some horrible cough going on at the moment.
More coffee.
Right, so more coffee to fix my cough.
Oh.
Cool. So I did forget that I am planning another YouTube video while we're semi-talking about myth busting. We'll read what Rebecca's got first. Just large. You do it. Just large white spots over the body or up to 100. They were slightly larger, so I did a scrape, and the shape were entirely different from white spot. Either way, worm and sorted it. Cool. Very cool. Look at that. Science. Anyway, so I've started planning a new YouTube video. I'm trying to bust the myth that fish keeping is expensive, because I don't personally think that fish keeping is all that expensive in the grand scheme of things. So I'm hoping to have that out next week. So I've been trying to compare a few things to a few other things. So simple things like for science, I had to eat a Big Mac. For the price of a Big Mac, to like fish keeping equipment. What else have I got up there? Coffees, dog roll, petrol, all that sort of stuff. So I'm comparing how long these things last compared to how long fish keeping equipment and fish last. So I think it's a belief that the fish keeping hobby is expensive, which I think it really isn't. So I'm going to be doing my best attempt at busting that myth. So if there's other things that you think you'd like me to compare other stuff with, please fire away.
I think looking at hardscape materials, something that if you look at aquascaping as a hobby, those materials can be quite expensive when you buy specific types of rock, but you can source them locally. You can There's ways of doing that for almost nothing. So it's a good way of.
Yeah, I see your point there, but we'll just say $250 for a 25-kilo box of rock.
Mm-hmm.
How long is it going to take for that rock to expire, crumble down to sand, be unusable? It's not. It's going to last forever.
Yeah.
So $250 on a keg of beer. How long is that going to last you? A weekend, and it's gone.
Exactly.
$250 on groceries. How long is that going to last you? A week, 5 days, and it's gone. Fish keeping's not expensive. It's just portrayed as expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I mean you can have it as an expensive hobby if you wanted it to. But if you're avoiding fish keeping because you think it's expensive, then you need to take another look at it for sure.
Yeah. $250. What else? What else can we get for $250? I don't go out very much, so I don't really buy many things.
A full tank of fuel.
That's 2 full tanks for me. I recorded that just recently to add to this video. But yeah.
Okay.
But that was 2 days worth of driving for me for $250. So yeah. Concert ticket, $150 for 3 hours. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just a few things to think about. Way we perceive the price of things and how long they last for, and what they're good for. So yeah.
I suppose it's how you value the things you love, isn't it?
100%, absolutely. So yeah, like I would. Helen's brought up try buying special terrestrial plants or house plants. Like I think seeing some of those prices of those plants are ludicrous. I'm not spending $500-600 on a plant, but I would spend $500 or $600 on a fish without question, because that's a value that I see more of.
Yeah.
You know?
Or people spend a fortune on a special breed of a dog, and then spend a fortune on special leads and food and all that stuff, but they don't see that value in fish tanks.
Yep.
Yeah.
Tools. I'm only saying tools because I've got a drill bit in my hand. You know, people happily spend $500-600 on a tool. No dramas whatsoever to use it 2 times. I needed it at the time. I'm not spending anywhere near that much. Give me the cheapest one I can find for the 2 times I'm going to use it. But it's all what people perceive as what they need.
Exactly.
So, yeah. So that's where I'm going. Yeah, Asian arowanas can be in the thousands, but so can dogs. Plenty of people buy $1,000 dogs without question.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just something that I'm working on. I'm sure it'll ruffle a few feathers, but we'll see how we go. It's a good time.
Cool. Yeah. When do you think that'll be ready?
What's that, sorry?
When do you think that'll be ready?
Next weekend is when I'm planning to have that done. So I've done most of the research I needed to do. I should be able to put it together during this week, and away we go.
Nice one.
Spending on tools is an investment. Think of spending on fishing as an investment. Sold. Mm-hmm. I'm in for that. Yeah, my daughter spends $200 per month to feed her greyhound. I was watching the muscle car parade in Rangiora last night. Goodness, I was yeah. Oh, I saw a lot of them when I was leaving. There was lots of cool old cars hanging around on my way out. I'm wondering what was going on. Yeah, exactly. Like it's all perception of what you're happy to spend your time and your money on.
Exactly. Yeah.
I saw Asian arowana for £500. Just most of the media is about people spending thousands. So, yeah. It's all about perception and what you're willing to spend your money on. So, yeah. $5 on a fish that should last you 3 years. That's pretty good value. $5 for 3 years. Bring it on. What else you can spend $5 on to last you 3 years? Not this dodgy drill bit that I paid $4.20 for that's already blunt after 6 months.
Have you used it yet, though?
Well, I've used it for at least 6 months. I'm able to wiggle it around in my hand. I can feel that I've used it. This is the drill bit that I drilled all the holes in the earline and plastic in it. So.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So, yeah. All right, we've been rambling now for about an hour. should we call it a day or should we continue to rock and roll? That is the question.
I think the chat seems to start rambling now as well, so maybe it'll be time.
$100 for high quality fish food that will last 6 months to a year. Yeah, I do not disagree with you. Absolutely do not disagree with you. Which gives better longevity and health properties to your fish. It's a good time. Oops. Cool. Okay, well, we can pull pin because, as I've said, I've got lots of things I need to do. We need to start this mega sale, get that up and rocking and rolling, and I need to edit all the videos from yesterday. And yeah, it'll be good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, enjoy the rest of your day.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us. Have a lovely weekend. If I believe that Rochelle is going to the Foos tomorrow night, I hope you enjoy it. Yeah, I'm sure you will. It'll be a good time. All right, everyone. Happy fish keeping. Have a good one and catch you later.
Have a good weekend, guys.
See you later.
See ya.